Hello everybody, welcome to the NPTEL SWAYAM course on Customer Relationship Management. This is Dr. Shagota Chatterjee from VGSOM IIT Kharagpur who is taking this course for you. We are in week 6 and we are discussing basically B2B CRM applications in B2B context or business to business context. In this particular video, we will discuss a paper called Goods and Service Related Brand Image and B2B Customer Loyalty Effects of Construal Level. So, this is an application of CRM into the B2B context, and this work has been done jointly with my PhD student Prathamesh Vikittur. He is currently in his third year, and this particular paper has already been published in Journal of Business and Industrial Marketing in 2020. So, I am going to present this paper and how this paper can bring the contextual discussion in the context of CRM in B2B. We will come to that. So, this presentation will follow this contents, this introduction. Then I will discuss about the research objectives, a little bit about the extant literature, then what is construal level. This term is something which is new, we have not used it till now in our course. So, we will discuss about that, the results, discussions and references and appendices are there. So, relationship management is a key aspect of B2B marketing, and satisfaction, trust, perceived risk, brand image are important aspects in B2B purchase decision making. This is something that we discussed, that the supplier and the customer, the relationship has to be very strong in B2B context, because the switching cost is high, because probably it is difficult to find out a supplier who is good enough. So, generally customers want to create a strong relationship, and once that relationship is built, they want to sustain that relationship, and that is probably true for the supplier's point of view also, because the number of customers are very low. So, if you miss one customer, you are going to miss a huge chunk of money, because the ticket size is high. So, that is why the satisfaction, trust, perceived risk, brand image, these are some of the important factors that come up. And all these important constructs, behind purchase decision making are basically ultimately linked with brand loyalty. So, satisfaction leads to brand loyalty, trust leads to some way or other it leads to brand loyalty, risk perceptions leads to brand loyalty. If you think that this purchase will be very risky, you want to be very brand loyal, you want to be buy from only those kind of suppliers who can give you enough trust. And then there is brand image. So, obviously brand image also actually reduces a little bit of perceived risk, and that is how it is related to trust. So, all of these components are related to trust, which becomes a very important factor in case of brand loyalty in a B2B context. Hence, brand loyalty plays an important role. So, that is why we have to, in this particular paper, we are trying to focus that what drives brand loyalty, what are the various things that might impact brand loyalty. So, what is brand loyalty? What is the definition? It is defined as a deeply held commitment to rebuy or repatronize preferred product services consistently in the future. Means, first of all, you have to buy it and patronize it, and repatronization has two things. One is I will talk good about this to others, and if somebody says bad about this product, I will defend this product. That is patronization. You say good about a certain product and you defend bad words by other people when that is made about this product. So, a deeply held commitment to rebuy or repatronize preferred product or service consistently in the future, thereby causing repetitive same brand or same brand set purchasing. Either you buy the same brand or same brand set, and despite situational influences, even if there are situational influence, means let us say offer going on for the competing brand, still you will be sticking to this brand. And marketing efforts, despite situational influence and marketing efforts having the potential to cause switching over. So, there can be certain kinds of influences that might ask you that why don't you switch over, switch to some other brand, switch to us. There can be competing brands who can keep on telling you, but you still stay back with the original brand. So, that is called brand loyalty. it becomes a very important construct in the context of B2B marketing. Now, what is the importance of brand loyalty? Why brand loyalty is important? Why I am spending so much of time? One is it results in steady and consistent revenue stream. So, it will keep on giving you revenue from multiple sources because the customer will keep on purchasing from you. It is a repeat purchase that will happen. It reduces customer acquisition cost and services, which improves profit. So, this is something very important. As we told in the earlier classes of CRM, that when as the company knows a customer better, the companies know that what small things that I have to do to make my customer happy. If you do not know your customer, you have to try out multiple things, and some of them might make your customer happy. Some of them might not make your customer happy. So, this lack of information about your customer, lack of knowledge of your customer's preconceived bias towards you, all of these things, if it is not there, then it becomes very difficult to satisfy the customer. On the other hand, if the customer is biased towards you and you also know what customers are biased towards, you can easily tweak your offering and make customer happy. So, the cost involved in acquiring a customer. So, the cost of customer acquisition, reduce cost of customer acquisition. So, you do not have to acquire new customer, you can keep your new existing customer, and you can also give better services or products to this customer, which increases profit at the end of the day. And it also has a positive effect in your word of mouth. What happens when word of mouth happens? Many people listen about your brand and they come and buy your brand. So, some kind of referrals get generated, that again creates further revenue, which is the first point. So, basically in various ways brand loyalty can help you. Hence, finding drivers of brand loyalty in B2B purchase decision making context is very important to gain competitive advantage. So, you have to know what you have to do to get a brand loyalty in the B2B purchase decision making process. So, what is the B2B purchase decision making process? In the last video we discussed, the first they will actually there will be a need that will be understood. So, then technical report will be created based on that need. Then based on the technical report, the RFP will be generated, and that RFP will be sent to the limited suppliers or to the open people, and you will solicit bids, and people will bid or offer their propose their offerings and consistent price. You will evaluate them, and then after you evaluate them, you choose somebody based on your technical and financial criteria. You choose somebody, and then you further negotiate with that person to finalize the deal. Once you finalize the deal, you send a purchase order. Once the purchase order is sent, this guy gives you product or services, and after a certain period of time, you go and do an evaluation of that product and services. Now, in this process, B2B plays multiple roles, because whom to send? Whom will you send this limited bid? Or how much importance will you give to the brand name? Or in the post purchase situation, if it is a credence kind of good, if you have limited idea about the quality of the good, then how will you judge that whether the services provided is good enough or not? So, these kind of decisions can be taken if brand loyalty is strong. It becomes very easy to make these decisions if brand loyalty is strong, because brand loyalty will play an important role. So, that is why what drives brand loyalty is important for the supplier to know. So, one of the classic drivers of brand loyalty, as I was telling in the previous slide, is called brand image. Now, what is brand image? This is one of the major driver of brand loyalty, as told. High brand image leads to increased trust, lower perceived risk, and higher perceived quality. There are three things that creates. So, one is brand image. Brand image leads to trust. Brand image leads to perceived quality perceptions, and brand image reduces risk perceptions. These are the three ways that it does, and that is why all of these things ultimately leads to the perceived competence of the vendors, both products and services. This is what brand image does. And in B2B marketing, brand image is related to both product performance as well as service. So, many people actually have broken this brand image, the image a brand has in a B2B context, into two parts. For example, let us say you try to buy, you are buying, let us say lots of systems for your office, let us say 50 systems, 50 computer systems for your office. So, what do? You give an order to somebody, and let us say HP has given one bid. Now, HP, when you give this order to HP, you will not only look at the product quality of HP or Dell, you will also check how good the service they are giving. So, whether HP or Dell or Lenovo or Compaq, whoever is giving better service and whoever product quality is good enough, both of these two things might have a effect on your decision whether to buy a product or not from a particular vendor. So, both of the brand image will brand. So, there can be companies which have very good brand image about their product. For example, Ford has very good brand image about the product, but there are certain other companies which have very good brand image about the service than the product. For example, Maruti, their service centers are all over India and they boast on that. They never say that our products are absolutely better than other companies. They don't boast on that. They boast on their service centers. Obviously, their product is, some of the products are probably better or at par with many other companies, but the primary selling point is it's a India ka gadi. This is something that you should buy because it's an Indian car, and our service center, everywhere you go there will be somebody to help you. So, that is something that they boast on. So, the brand image can be of both product types and service type. So, when it is product type, we call it goods based brand image, and when it is service types, we say it is a service based brand image, and brand image creates a halo effect of customer satisfaction. See, loyalty comes from satisfaction, this much is create. But what is the brand image's job? Brand image's job is creating a halo effect. Sometimes even before you purchase the product, you might be satisfied with the product or satisfied with the services, not because of the product quality, but because of the halo effect. For example, somebody comes, let us say some XYZ person who is very famous comes and gives you a lecture. Oftentimes it happens that the lecture content is not very strong. Probably the judgments, the arguments that this person is putting is not very strong. But this person is very well known, and you are in a awe kind of a thing that okay, this XYZ person who is a celebrity is coming and speaking in front of him. So, even if his judgment is weak, sometimes you are very much satisfied with the lecture, because the lecture is coming, the satisfaction of the lecture is coming from the halo effect. The halo effect is coming from is the brand image of this person rather than the actual quality of the content. So, that also sometimes, and you might want to repeat the listening to that lecture, you might want to go to multiple places to listen to this guy's lecture, and that creates a brand loyalty. So, oftentimes the brand image to brand loyalty relationship is not through customer satisfaction. In some of the cases it is through customer satisfaction, in some of the cases it is beyond customer satisfaction as well. So, that kind of relationship is possible. Now, here what we are trying to check is that basically whether this goods based brand image and service based brand image has separate impact on brand loyalty or not, whether these two guys have different kinds of impact on brand loyalty or not. So, and to find the role of satisfaction in the driver. So, last in a previous study, there was a model which said that GBBI, good based brand image, and service based brand image, these two brand image leads to customer satisfaction through this halo effect. You become happy without the brand image itself makes you happy without the quality, or irrespective of the quality. I am not saying the quality is bad, but irrespective of the quality, it might have, there can be other things which might affect customer satisfaction. I am not saying that quality will not affect, quality can also affect. This can very much occur, but I am saying that even after controlling for quality, this image, brand image will also affect your perception about satisfaction, because you might have a bias, and that will lead to loyalty. So, this is a model that was established. And then there were another person, another researcher, who told that this GBBI to loyalty, this will be, there might be a direct effect on that. Means even when this or GBBI to loyalty or SBBI loyalty, these two might have a direct effect without customer satisfaction. No, there can be situations when you are not happy, but you are still loyal to these customers. So, in what kind of situation this is something that is more prominent and not this, because in some of the situations the product quality you might not be happy with, but still you might be loyal, and in other situations SBBI might affect loyalty directly without customer satisfaction. So, there can be certain judgments, certain arguments for that. What are the arguments? Let us talk about SBBI to loyalty. This one was given by the past researcher, who was telling that, see, service based brand image comes from something called a service dominant logic. Service dominant logic says what? It says that everything is, you have to see everything as a solution rather than a product kind of a thing. You are trying to give a solution to customers' problems. For example, if somebody is driving an Uber, Uber is not giving the rental services of a cab. It is actually giving you a transportation solution. Tomorrow a new transportation solution can come up and make this Uber service absolutely irrelevant. So, it is a transportation solution that it is giving you. As long as the need for transportation solution is there, Uber will be there. If some transportation need goes away, or let us say you can give something else which will solve the transportation problem, you might not need Uber or cabs at all. So, basically we are trying to provide certain solution which is solution to a need or want, rather than product or service. We are providing a solutions which can be combination of product and service, and there is nothing called this is absolutely product and absolutely service. For example, Uber, what does it give? Does it give a service? If it gives a service, if only service is important, why do we feel bad when the Uber car's exterior is not good looking? Let us say the Uber car's exterior, which has nothing to do with the service, you will sit inside. Let us say the exterior is a little bit broken, some dent is there in the car, some scratches is there in the car. Sometimes we do not feel good, or at least we feel extra better when the car that has arrived is absolutely clean. Why do you absolutely clean outside, forget about inside, absolutely clean outside? Why will you feel like that? That is not your service, but that is the goods part, the tangible part, which is visible part. So, even when Uber is giving you the service of transportation, and let us say everything is fine, the cab arrived at time, you had no hassle in getting the cab, you got no hassle in reaching the space, still if the cab's exterior is not good looking, it is muddy or dirty or something like that, you might not feel good. So, they have to take care about that part also. So, everything, even if you, every service you can think about has some product component, every product that you think about has some service component, and it is basically a continuum. So, at a certain side, when tangible things are more important, it becomes more productive. In the when intangible things are more important, it becomes more servicey. Now, in this particular context, what I am trying to say is that there are certain kind of services in B2B where service is heavily human oriented. It cannot be, it is not like that you made something and you sell it. In the service delivery process, both the provider and the taker has to participate. For example, in the Uber process, if you are a person who delays, or you are not tech savvy enough, or you do not know how to behave properly with the driver, then your own service experience can deteriorate. So, it is something where both the service provider and the service taker together has to participate in the service delivery process. And because together they have to participate in the service delivery process, more so in B2B context, there is some part where the quality might not be good, but still you will be loyal because you have invested on that service. You have spent time on that service. You have done something for the service as a customer. So, even if the customer satisfaction does not come, even if you think that service quality is not so good, this service based brand image can lead to loyalty because you have contributed to that image. So, you have created that image in your mind by contributing to this service delivery process. So, when we contribute, we do something, even if that does not come out to be at best, we have a little bit of bias towards that side, because you feel that it is something where I have done something, I have contributed. So, that kind of things will lead to loyalty, which is called co-creation. When customers and the companies come together and co-create, which is a very much part of service based brand image, that co-creation leads to loyalty irrespective of satisfaction. When I and my another person create something, let us say I cooked, even if I do not feel good about the food, even if the food quality, everybody is saying that this happens in my house actually. Let us say I cooked and my family members are saying that this is not so good, we do not like it, blah blah blah. I think that why are they not liking it? I am liking it like anything. So, because that is because even if the service quality or the product quality in that context is not so good, because I have spent my effort, I have given my effort on that food making process, I might feel good about that food. So, that is what happens. Now, we actually told that in Indian context this might not be very true, because in Indian context this is something which is expected. Generally the purchaser has more purchasing power than in a B2B context. Majorly the person who is purchasing has higher bargaining power, and if by chance he has a higher bargaining power, they always poke nose, and they generally the B2B customers do not self attribute a failure. If the product quality is not good, even if he pokes nose, even the product quality is not good, he will always attribute the failure towards the person who is the driver. So, this SBBI to loyalty impact, which you can see in other countries, might not be very much visible in India. On the other hand, GBBI to loyalty effect, the previous researchers told that always goes through satisfaction. We argued that it might not go always through satisfaction. There are situations, as I was giving the example of a printing machine in the last class, that there are certain things where you have to create a strategic relationship. You might not be happy with this service product quality of this particular supplier, but because of strategic reasons you are loyal to this person. What kind of strategic reasons? The strategic reasons are related to whether this person can be relied or not, whether this product can be obtained or not. So, I might be not satisfied, but this product quality is good enough to be considered. If it is good enough to be considered, we will consider this particular person and we will be loyal to this particular person, more so when when it is a resource constrained environment. The one that we are giving, why this particular company, the printing company, was more loyal, very much loyal to a local paper producer, because paper is not something which is produced in a large scale in India. So, if paper is not something which is produced in a large scale in India, even if the quality is not so good, you might rely on the major paper creators of India, because that is something that creates a hindrance. We are in a resource constrained environment in terms of paper. If the papers import from the external world, let us say some other countries, get stopped, I have to rely on these people only. Otherwise, my whole business will go for a toss. So, there, even with this satisfaction line is not there, still there will be a direct effect. So, basically we tried to test this particular model that we have, that GBBI will affect loyalty with customer satisfaction as a mediator. So, there can be partial mediation, there can be full mediation. So, those who have a little bit of academic background will understand this part. What is mediation? Mediation means, let us say x affects y, X affects A affects Y, all these three conditions has to be fulfilled, and then when X and A both affects Y together, this strength, whatever is the strength of this relationship, that goes down. Either that becomes insignificant at all, if it becomes insignificant, then that is called full mediation. If it is reduced, only the strength is reduced, it is called partial mediation. So, we try to test that. So, that is why our hypothesis was GBBI has a positive relationship with customer loyalty, which is mediated through satisfaction, and same is the case for SBBI. Now, we are bringing in a new concept here, which is called construal level, and I told in the last class that I will discuss something about the application of consumer behavior, the behavioral theories in the context of B2B. So, in the recent years, this kind of research is being accepted, where people are saying that when people take decision, people are not robots. We are human beings who take decision. We can think a little bit more, but still the overall decision is taken by human being. So, some of the affective part, which is not cognitive, not I would say very much analytical part, it still comes up in the decision making process. And there are other cases where decision making is done by small number of people. We call these the purchase champions. In B2B marketing, these purchase champions are coming up. So, let us say I have been given the all the responsibility for certain kind of purchase. For my department, they know that okay, Swagato knows these XYZ things. So, Swagato will actually buy this product, and whatever he says, we will rely on him. So, in that kind of a situation, when and many small purchases are like that, other than the big huge strategic purchase decision makings, smaller level purchase decision makings are left aside with the person who is the champion of that purchase. For example, let us say if I am pretty sure many of you are academicians who are doing my course, you will know that if you are purchased, let us say there is a budget for academicians in institutes, government institutes, we are given a budget, we call that is called CPDA, Cumulative Professional Development Allowance. That allowance is something that is given by Government of India, 1 lakh rupees per year, something like that, to buy something, to do my professional development. I can buy books, I can buy let us say cartridges, some stationaries, I can go for a conference, I can probably get memberships, blah blah blah. Now, what I will do with that 1 lakh rupees is my decision, and I am the champion of the purchase. I will decide that okay, I will buy from this particular guy, as long as it is within a limit. I am following a procedure of B2B purchase. I can decide from whom I to purchase, how much to purchase, what product to purchase. So, I am the decision champion, and these decisions are left on to me, and if this decision is left on to me, then my psychological factors also impact the customer decision making, and this is not very uncommon. This is common in multiple places where these decisions are taken at an individual level. So, if individual level decision making matters, then what will come, what kind of theories will come into the picture, we will be discussing. There is one theory called construal level theory given by Trope and Lieberman. Trope and Lieberman told construal level theory. In construal level theory, he told that our mind has different kinds of thinking frames. One thinking frame is abstract thinking frame, and another thinking frame is concrete thinking frame. So, sometimes we think very abstractly and sometimes we think very concretely. For example, today I asked one of my students that what do you want to be in next 5 years or next 3 years, or if I asked this PhD student who was doing the work. On the first day, I asked him when we were discussing construal level theory, I asked him that what do you want to be in next 1 year? So, how do you see yourself? So, he says that sir, one of my papers should go out, my PhD's registration should be complete, I should be completing 2-3 courses, additional courses. So he gave me a plan that these are the some of the things that I want. Now I told that what do you want to be in next 10 years? So he said that, sir, I want to be in a good place, in a good, as a professor I want to teach in a good place. I want to be well published, I want to be a good teacher. Now well published, good teacher, teaching in a good academy, these are very abstract terms. What is good? For certain people, probably IITs, IIMs are only good places. For certain other people, probably abroad is a good place. Ivy League universities are a good place. For certain other people, even universities will be the good place. How do you define good? I don't know. How do you define well published? I don't know. How do you define you want to be a good teacher? How good is a good teacher? You don't know. So these are abstract thinking. And on the other hand, I want a paper published, this particular part of this paper published in this particular journal, or my registration is over, or I want to do 3 courses. These are very concrete. You know which 3 courses, you know which paper you want to get published and in which journal, you know that which exam you want to pass. So these are concrete thinking. So you see the only questions, only difference was, in one case I asked him for 10 years, and another case I asked him for 2 months or 3 months. So the only difference here is that this is short term and this is long term. So there are different kinds of things which can induce concrete thinking and abstract thinking in your mind. One of them is distance. So distance leads to concrete, smaller distance leads to concrete distance, larger distance leads to abstract thinking. So it is saying that it is if the psychological distance from the object is high, person thinks more stable and abstract, which is considered to be high conceptual level. If psychological distance from the object is less, a person thinks more contextual, concrete and detailed, and it is called low conceptual level. So in high conceptual level, in high psychological distance, you will think abstract. In low psychological distance, you will think concretely. Now there are, this is something that I just told. Now there are 3 types of distance. When we say psychological distance, majorly there are other types of distance also, but majorly these are the 3 types that we thought, and the one that I just told is an example of temporal distance. 2 life conditions, one 2 months later, one 10 years later. How will you see yourself? It's a classic example of temporal distance, conceptual level. What is social distance? For example, what will I, if I have to buy a gift, what will I buy for my wife and what will I buy for somebody else who is my colleague, let's say. For my wife, I know what she needs, exactly what is required for her. So I will be going and buying exactly the thing that she wants. I will not focus on the brand image. I will not focus on how I will look like while buying this, or whether this is something that is worthy to my income, her expectations, blah blah blah. I will not think about that. I will exactly whatever she needs, I will buy that. On the other hand, for a person who is socially distant from me, I will focus on abstract things rather than concrete things. What kind of abstract things? I will focus on brand image of that particular product. Whether the product has, I will focus on the price. I will try to buy something which is high price, so that this guy do not say that, okay, this is a cheap person, he has bought me a cheap product. So I don't know what this person's need is. He is socially distant from me. So if he or she is socially distant from me, I will try to buy stuffs which are risk averse. So I will focus on abstract stuff than concrete stuff. So a classic example of that is social distance. And the third one is physical distance. For example, somebody who is away from you and somebody is close by to you, or let's say if I ask you that how will you, if you are planning for a trip, let's say you are planning for a trip from Kharagpur to Calcutta versus you are planning for a trip from Kharagpur to Mumbai. Kharagpur to Calcutta is physically less distant. You know that place very well. You know what you can expect there. So you will packing of your bag will be very concrete. Okay, on day 1 I will need this, day 2 I will need that, day 3 I will need this. You will be only packing up those stuff and go. But when we go for a long term trip or for a away trip, there is lots of these components, there are lots of things which you do not know, and that is why you do abstract thinking and you probably pack up a lots of stuff. So, those are the examples of temporal distance, conceptual level, which can be analyzed as temporal distance, social distance, physical distance. Now, how does that apply in B2B context? It applies in B2B context in this way. We say that even in a B2B purchase context, there can be these 3 kind of distances. So, for example, if you are buying it for a longer period of time, buying or usage time is longer in future, that is a high temporal distance. So, whenever you are buying, if you are buying it for 10 years versus if you are buying it for 10 days, 10 years is a high temporal distance. For example, let us say many products we buy, when we are buying a product stationery for a month versus we are buying a laptop for a longer period of time. Per unit time usage probably same, but this stationery you will think in a different way and for a laptop you will think in a different way. Okay. High social distance. Social distance means what? You are buying from a person, from a supplier who is new, you do not know, that is high social distance. And high physical distance, buying from a supplier, who stays away, means whose office is away, the example of high physical distance. So, these are the some of the stuff, and we are trying to say that these stuffs are actually impacting your decision. How it is impacting your decision? As I just told that in a high conceptual level, you will focus on abstract stuff, and in a low conceptual level, you will focus on concrete thinking, you will do concrete thinking. Now, GBBI and SBBI, good based brand image and service based brand image, which one is concrete? Probably goods, the performance, the quality of the product is more concrete and the service concepts are more abstract. So, that is why the relationship that I have just drawn before, all the relationship will be moderated, means they in the relationship conceptual level will have an impact, and whenever the high conceptual level here is there, whenever this is high, these two relationships will get stronger. These two relationships will get stronger, and whenever it is low, these two relationships will get stronger. So, that is what we proposed, and then we went ahead and collected data and we actually found support for that. So, what we did, we collected from 135 respondents, 23% response rate was around 23%, and we have done data collection in a 5-point scale, and the industries from where we collected data is hospitality, IT, retailers. So, different type of transporters, manufacturers, suppliers, different kinds of industries we focused on, and then we collected data and checked the model. So, first we checked the effect of SBBI and GBBI in loyalty, it became significant. On customer satisfaction is also significant, loyalty is also significant, but with customer satisfaction inside, this SBBI changes, its sign changes, that means it is a full mediation absolutely happening through customer satisfaction. On the other hand, GBBI comes down, that is why it is partial mediation. So, that is what we have told. And then here also, if you check the figures carefully, here also you will find that GBBI, SBBI and their these terms, the multiplication terms of longer stay and GBBI, SBBI and PA and SBBI, these are also something which are basically significant. Significant means that moderating effect is present, and that moderating effect, mediating effect is further moderated, means whenever this 0.89 is included, that means customer satisfaction is included, this minus 0.31 becomes minus 0.16. So, the moderation effect comes down. So, it is a moderated mediation that we have tried to focus on in this particular result. So, you can go and read about this paper with the same name. You can find out in my ResearchGate profile, and I can share the proof version. You can read the paper thoroughly, and that is what we have done. So, this is what we wanted to ultimately say, that in high constituent level this relationship becomes stronger, this becomes weaker, in low this becomes stronger and this becomes weaker, something like that. So, what are the managerial implication? Managerial implication means a person who is a supplier, he can decide by while these discussions are going on, that whether this purchase is being made for longer term or shorter term. He can know. He can also know that whether I have a very long relationship with this customer or not. He can also know that whether this particular product that I am going to sell, whether I will be close to my customer or not. He knows this situation, he knows the physical distance, he knows the psychological, the social distance, he knows the temporal distance also. Now, if he knows the temporal distance and all these things, he might know that if I have a marketing budget of 100 rupees, how much I will post on the product quality improvement, how much I will invest on the service quality improvement. So, in what conditions service becomes more important, in what conditions product become more important relative to the other conditions is something that this particular paper is focusing on. So, you can future scope is probably trying to check this in a real life situation rather than a survey, or try to see other kinds of effects which can also come into this GBBI SBBI relationship with the customer loyalty. So, future, if there are some academicians in this thing, in this audience who would want to collaborate in this kind of a work in this context after reading this paper, you can write me. So, that is all for this particular session. Thank you very much for being with me. I will see you in the next video.